Hola.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? No, Sari. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Sarah.
We're a little late.
Yes.
It's all good.
Work late. I got home from work late, and I mean, this is the latest I've been in a long time. So I apologize to both of you, but you both are amazing. So happy to have you.
Thank you. Who is it? Taryn? Wait a minute. Yeah, it is. It's Taryn.
Oh my gosh.
Shut up.
I told you it was going to be her tonight. Yeah.
How are you both?
All I saw was a pretty blonde.
Been busy.
Yeah, very busy season. Getting to be that busy personally. I've had such ups and downs. I don't want it to be the Carl show, so why even get into them? I have to tell a story to tell a story, you know?
Yeah. I do want to tell you guys, I figured out a way to be able to look at TikTok and this and everything and get the comments on TikTok as well. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but that's me not being a techie person. So anyways,
you're a multitasker.
Yes.
Yeah, I try. For everybody that now Carl and Elise, you both have technically been on the show a couple of times. But for all my new viewers and people that are watching, can we give us just a little bit a little bit of background about yourselves and then how you guys finally came together for those that wouldn't know, or the floor is yours.
He's been at it a lot longer than I have, so I will let him go first.
You saying there are people?
Don't leave out working with Ed and Lorraine Warren. You can breathe, just say Ed and Lorraine Warren. You've been on Ghost Hunters. You were on the first season of Ghost Hunters. Go ahead.
Are the people out there that don't know me, don't know who I am? Is that what you're saying? Come on, God, maybe we should start the show over again. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I'm humble. I am very humbled. Nobody could go through my last 2 months without being humbled. Anyway, yes, I am Carl L. Johnson. I am a paranormal investigator with a cough drop in his mouth. I'm a paranormal investigator who specializes as a demonologist. Oh, I like that. I use that emoji. Yeah. Paranormal investigator who specializes as a demonologist. And of course, that means I address some of the more malevolent seeming situations with paranormal leanings that are brought to my attention. And they are. And I am also a cathonicist, and that's somebody who researches the classical gods and goddesses and the nether spirits, like that have been cast down. Usually these deities were worshipped at one time, and then they fall out of fashion and Christianity dominates, and then they become the devils. So that's another specialty of mine. I was ushered into formally to paranormal investigation with the advent of meeting Ed and Lorraine Warren, the noted paranormal researchers, investigators, ghost hunters is really how they build themselves then. And Ed Warren was a lay demonologist, Lorraine Warren, clairvoyant, and everybody does know the Warrens, especially since the release in 2013 of the movie The Conjuring. So I not only knew Ed and Lorraine Warren, I lectured with them several times, investigated with them, and they had dinner at my parents' house, which is my best memory of Ed and Lorraine Warren, because they were just like old friends, right? Yeah. So that's a decent memory, all that. And I realized early in my career of investigating and researching that I was called on to do the cases nobody else wanted. No, take out the trash, Carl. Well, what they would say is I would get contacted by different groups, and the teams would say, Carl, we're in over our heads. We kind of want you to help us with this. Can you please? And I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do that they can't do? I mean, yeah, okay, I'll be there. But early on, I had a reputation for standing my ground and not running out of it. Trying situation. I've encountered some. So that's how I became a demonologist. I mean, I saw in a magazine article that referred to one paragraph was about Carl Johnson, the demonologist from Rhode Island. Demonologist. Okay, it has a ring to it, so I'll be a demonologist. And I've been ever since. And I've studied this, of course. And when you go into a potentially trying, I don't know if I want to say dangerous, I think some of them have been, case, then you're only as good as your last experience, because you can't, there's no set criteria,
Right.
like what most people think, ways to banish a demon. You're confronting a human being and a human situation. They're all individual. So you don't know what's going to happen, if pictures are flying off the walls and chairs are moving about, or there's a person who looks like they're taken over by an invasive personality and they look like they're going to attack. Kind of hard to look calm in that and like you're in control. But I do, and I'm thinking, what do I do next? What depends on the other person, but it's worked out, So I've written a book. I co-authored with Lana Brock, Demonology, Shadow Realms Demonology Handbook. And that's based on some of my experience and my own theory. And Lana wrote too. And she's a very good co-author. And it's meant to be a handbook that one can put in their backpack or read a chapter a night. And it's like, oh, well, this is a similar situation. This guy, Carl Johnson, dealt with that. Let's see what he has to say about it. It's times when I could have done things differently and, things that worked for me. So
Right.
It's my book. So demonology incorporates everything from psychological anomalies to an aberrant psyche, but also the preternatural, of course, dolls that supposedly move and animals.
Stop it.
Yeah, I know you're not a doll person,
Let's skip over the doll part, okay?
Well, I haven't had a bad experience with them personally. I would open a Dybbuk box myself. I mean, I don't have any,
See, it's interesting you bring that up, because I wouldn't. It's not that I believe that there's something bad with it, but I am superstitious.
Oh, exactly. I have that superstition too. I mean, if somebody is defying a tradition, a superstition, then that's going to be a potent force. And everything that goes wrong, or if they start getting nervous, they're going to blame it on that.
Exactly. And then I think the mind then will take,
Oh, yes.
You put it, it's like a placebo effect where it's like, you put that in your mind, and then now everything bad that happens, it's because, I have this doll.
Yes.
Yeah. Like say I was in someone's home or a museum and somebody took a certain doll out of a case and tossed it to me. So I reflexively catch it. You know who I mean? I'd just say, don't be a jerk. Come on. And I'd put it back in the case.
I would let her fall.
I would let her fall. No, I would pick it. I would just go over to the case and put it back, but I wouldn't, have to wash myself with oil.
No, I would be like, yep, sorry, girl.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't personify haunted dolls. They really don't bother me.
No. I'll see you guys later.
Is that what you do, huh? You'd leave that doll to me?
Oh, I would just leave it on the floor. I wouldn't even let it touch me.
Oh, I wouldn't do that, but
I wouldn't let it touch me.
But I wouldn't go over to a case and pull it out and say, look, doesn't hurt me. No, because that's setting up a lodestone in my mind. I don't need that negative energy around me. But I don't have an innate dread of those things. I think, the Dybbuk box, which was actually a concoction for a television story, but I wouldn't have any problem opening a Dybbuk. I think there should be one day a year where you free your Dybbuk. Open the box, let it air out. One day, if your Dybbuk comes back to you, then it was meant to be yours.
If the
Otherwise,
David comes back to me, I am calling you.
thank you. Well, that's
I'm
what
gonna say, Carl, come get this from my house right now.
A lot of times people call me, and when there have been occult practices, and there seems to be some residue from that, or excessive use of a Ouija board. I don't have a problem.
I definitely want to. I want to circle back to that because I want to find out.
Sure.
Your opinion on all that stuff, both of you. But Elise, really quick, just kind of let's learn about how this beautiful woman that sits next to you.
Sweet. Who am I? What am I doing?
We are in agreement there,
right? That's what people ask us all the time. Where did you come from? Who do you think
How do you mean
are?
it, though? What am I doing sitting next? You just said this beautiful woman, she says, and people ask, what am I doing sitting next to him?
I meant as half of people.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, I feel better.
You know, you've all just listened to what he does with the history and the lore and the dark and dirty side of this thing. Yeah. And here I come along, and my interest, you know, it started when I was a kid. You know, I grew up in the 70s, so we had, you know, the Bermuda Triangle and the Loch Ness Monster and you name it, aliens. We had everything in the 70s. But as I got older and, you know, took a real interest once the kids were out of school and everything, and I had the time and started, you know, ghost hunting, as they like to call it, I found that what really resonated with me is what they call parapsychology, which is not just a fancy name for ghost hunting. They tend to focus on ESP, which is mind-to-mind communication, psychokinesis, mind over matter type stuff, and the possibility.
Which is very interesting, by the way.
Yeah, see, and the possibility of the existence of consciousness after death. People could talk to mediums. That covers, you know, ghosts and apparitions and hauntings, which are two different things, by the way. So I've been taking classes at the Rhine Center. A lot of them are with Lloyd Auerbach. I've got another one coming up.
Go, girl.
The next class is going to be developing investigative techniques. Last time I took paraanthropology.
Paraanthropology. How about that?
Wow.
It's good because just because we don't believe that, say, reincarnation can happen, we're trying to just think about the possibility that can happen. There are other cultures in the world that this is just a given. You know, of course he's reincarnated. So got to try to even out the playing field from there, and then try to investigate these things on their level, on, you know, that person's beliefs and their culture and their religion, and they have to kind of look at us. Right now, I'm doing a lot of reading about the paranormal and yoga. It's extremely interesting, parapsychology and yoga.
Well, I mean, yoga can be like meditation almost.
Well, yeah, you know, on its face, the physical, you know, the physical parts, the meditation, quieting your mind so that you can hear other things. If you have that ability, you have to get your brain to shut up first. Which one really doesn't like to do that. But also in yoga, as you work your way up to what are called the siddhis. Those are the extraordinary powers, which are ESP and PK. And you're supposed to be working your way through them and not find your ego in the fact that, you know, I can throw this pen across the room with my mind.
How can you not have an ego?
Work through that.
Do that.
Yeah, it's a, you know,
you're like a Jedi at that point.
Right. It's a very, you can never attain enlightenment until you can get past that and go, yeah, I can do that, and don't do it unless, you know, you need to. It's helpful, or, you know, every day. So that's where my interest lies. And I think that working together, which you asked, where did we meet? You know, how did we end up working together? He came to my historical society. I'm the president of the Johnston, Rhode Island Historical Society. And he came and gave a talk on Slater Mill. And the president at the time said to me, hey, we got this guy coming in. He likes that ghost stuff like you do. And I got brave and asked him if he wanted to go get a cup of coffee. We've been talking about this stuff ever since.
I remember that cup of coffee. I remember that night, yeah.
And investigating together.
Yeah, we had a simpatico with us. You know, we were very like-minded.
Before we get too ahead, I've had this starred, but I don't want to lose it. Okay. So George says, demons, my opinion is this, but it's just opinion. There are some really ugly, mean people on this side of the veil, but I feel those die ugly, mean, and are just as evil on the other side. Not sure if I believe in actual demons, my opinion. And that's fair enough. I mean, I believe if you're a dick here, you're going to be a dick there. You know what I mean? But you know, I do believe, I believe in archangels and angels and saints and everything. So I obviously believe in the other side of that, the demons and, you know, whatever you want to call them, because I always say this, Carl knows this, us as humans have to have labels for everything.
Yes.
So who's to say that it really is what we just named
something
it
preternatural? Yeah.
We named it a demon. You know what I mean? That came from human, you know? So, you know.
Right. Well, everybody says what I tend to think is more practical, because even when I do an investigation first, it's like, okay, you know what? The floor's crooked. That's why you're getting dizzy. You know, I always start off with that. And so I have to be working my way up through every single other possibility before I get to demon, because if I believed the classical definition of a demon, of this thing from the depths of hell came up to rattle my kitchen cabinets for some reason, and I thought I was being bothered by a demon, you know what? I would not be out paranormal investigating on a Friday night at the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. I'd be in church. I'd be scared shitless.
Listen,
I would be so afraid.
You know, I had, you know, I had 3 months of training, you know, to be a paranormal investigator. And one of our classes was preternatural, but and it scared me. And I'm telling you this right now, we had like this classification of private cases that will come in and would be like, oh, it's a green, yellow, red, orange, whatever, you know? And I was clear to my director. I said, I don't want anything even remotely close to a pinkish hue coming my way. Okay. Casper only, green. I say, I'll do Casper and I'll do Slimer. I'm good with those two. Anything past that? I don't want any parts of it. Now, is there a chance that maybe it might happen? Absolutely. I know that, but I hope it doesn't.
Right.
You know?
Yes, and it's all in the translation. I mean, you know, people, I saw a big black dark mass. I saw a black mass.
Right.
Black doesn't automatically mean evil.
Exactly.
It was just the absence of light.
Right.
So, you know, it all depends on the interpretation.
I agree. So, Jonathan, who is enamored by Mr. Carl.
I like Jonathan too. I don't know him yet, but.
So he says, do you hate as much as I do when people just throw the word demon around all willy-nilly?
Oh, of course. It's such an easy thing to say because it gets attention. It supplies a definition. So when people say it's got to be demonic, well, yeah, demonic, you know, it just means, you know, inconvenient. If it scares people, you know, if it's a spirit that seems hostile, how could it not be demonic? And it's often not, of course, but people, that's been so inculcated into, you know, persons and introduced into our society with the advent of the book The Exorcist and the movie.
Well, and then the shows now, everything minus ghost hunters, you know, and paranormal caught on camera doesn't necessarily do it either. I mean, it's people's home videos. I'm not saying it's a great show. It's a good show. I watch it, you know, because it's interesting. Some of the things are interesting, but they don't really say demoness, you know, they just trying to explain people's home videos or whatever. But every other show is it's just that's what people are seeing.
Right. And then you see these people and then I mean, TV's kind of engineered, but even in real life, you know, we'll get a call and they're like, oh, it must be demonic and this and that. Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, you know, I've got this disease and my child died. There are always people who have terrible, I don't want to say luck, but, you know, bad things have happened to them by other people, by life being thrown at them. You don't just happen to see, you know, have this happy family, like a movie, happy family moves into a house and a demon pops out of the floor. I don't know. I don't know if the psychology is causing the demon or the demon is causing the bad psychology, but it all seems to be wrapped up in trauma and, you know, human suffering. And we need to like really sort it all out.
Yes. As often I've said, I've never addressed a demonic case situation that did not have some element of trauma in it. There was some seriously unresolved conflict, some old trauma that's, you know, has surfaced, and often this is projected as the demon. It brings things about, any PK, any paranormal, if you will, phenomena that manifests, that's going to be demonic, because why else would it be happening? The thing wants to get me, and it's making itself known. Like the classic Warren's interpretation of a demon would be like a shadow person, a darkness, or what does happen in these situations, a blackness, like you said, a black mass, actually it's formless, comes in. And when I've been able to observe that and then analyzed it in retrospect, it's not so much black as it is the absence of light. It's just blocking out reality. It looks kind of like a cloud at first, because that's what our eyes can perceive. But it's just darkness. And I think it's just, breaching a dimensional barrier. It's not necessarily evil. I've seen that in several houses, and it just I didn't get the heebie-jeebies about it, but because it appears black, this black form came in and it enveloped me,
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, and I mean, I think I shared it up here. Jonathan said, he said I knock on wood, I have not come across that many. I don't even think I've ever come across an angry spirit. I haven't. Either I'm null and void of that part of it, but I just, and I'm knocking on wood, because I'm not wishing that on me at all. Like, I'm not saying I want it to happen.
Right.
I maybe it's a rarity, but I've never come across anything. Either I'm ignorant to it, like I don't realize that that's what it is. I don't know. I feel like most of the stuff I come across is intelligent.
Right. And most of the intent is told to you by the person who is, reporting the activity. And if they're already feeling negative about it, they might say, oh, that's being, it hates throwing things at me. No, that fell off the table.
If it appears hostile, then there's what we would call an agent, the focal point. I always look for that, even though it's not obvious at first. It's like watching a forensic show or a detective story. It's the person you don't expect that's at the center of it. And there's always a target. There's always somebody says, oh, it's after me. What happened to that person? What's going on? Like one situation I was invited to investigate. That was back in 1980, 1981. And at the center of it all was a very upset at the time 14-year-old boy. Why was he upset? Because this thing was after him and it was scaring him. But look, he was the agent. All his adolescent, formative period was being channeled, and his frustrations were being channeled into this entity. And he created it, I think, brought in other elements and really made itself. And then had all the inclinations, all the criteria of a demon, of a demonic haunt. Some people would not analyze it so much. They just say it was demonic. Leave it at that. It's supposed to keep it simple. Now, my definition of demon has changed so many times over the years. There are theories, of course, beliefs as to what a demon could be, and they've always been believed in as evil spirits. My definition of demonology is a systemized study of the lore and cultural traditions of wicked spirits. Now, that could be that they are fallen angels in the big tribulation, the conflict in heaven, the celestial war. 1/3 of the heavenly hosts were cast down into the nether regions, and they became the demons. They were angels, they're fallen angels, they're demons under Lucifer. Yeah. And then you've got a thought that it could be a part of the human psyche. Yeah, I like you. You're blessing me. The human psyche is actually manufacturing, synthesizing these personalities and projecting them. Or they could be from just interdimensional travelers. Maybe they're tied in with the aliens, the extraterrestrial races. And the fact is, in paranormal perspective, all of these things could be true, and yet none of them at the same time.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a big contradiction. Being a paranormal researcher, I think you have to come, if you're an active researcher, an applied demonologist as I am, you have to get to the point where you say, I don't know, the big D-U-N-N-O. I just don't know. I'm not going to know what this is. And part of me wonders, like, maybe it is, as I was taught when I was brought up, that these are evil spirits in hell are coming and springing out from to do the devil's work. Part of me wonders, like, maybe they're right. I don't want to say too much, but I look at it I have to objectify it, because we just don't have the answers for this.
Right.
Well, they are.
Right. And when somebody does call us about such a case and something's after them and, making me sick and this and that. And we do start looking into the person's history a little bit, their personality, the house, who lived there, who lives there now, who else is there. But we're not psychiatrists either. So
Right.
you can't, just because I read a little bit about psychology doesn't mean I can suddenly say, well, that person's suffering from, bipolar
Right.
disorder.
Exactly.
But you really do need to know a little bit about these things, because why are you there? There's only two reasons you should investigate anything. And one is to help the client. They asked you for something, for some relief, for answers to questions, for a referral. The second one is, if you do come up with something really good, to add to the field, to add, wow, look what I found, look what I think I figured out. What do you think about this? To have talks with other people in the field. That's what I love about my classes. There's a lot of discussion. And, it might catch the eye of someone who's doing an experiment or, writing a paper, and, just like the backyard astronomer that's sitting there looking out into the sky, and he's like, I never saw that before. And then come to find out, he gets to name a star that he discovered.
That is happening.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe one of us right on the line paranormal investigators will figure something out and get to work with some people who are doing some real,
Absolutely.
studies.
Well,
And,
and I say this all, I pride myself on the fact that the last 6 private cases that have come my way, I haven't had to do an investigation.
Yeah.
I've talked to the family. We've gone over things. Now I might have gone out with 2 other people to the house during the day and sat down and talked to them. And because one of the cases involved 3 young girls, they were little, 3, 4, or 5.
You want to make them feel safe.
So we went out there, we talked to them, and we went out twice, because then we, and just during the day to talk and go over things, because kids, I think, are more visual. They listen when they see and this and that. So we took care of it. We were careful, we're very careful with that one. And because of the kids, but like I said, no investigation. And to me, that's a successful case.
Definitely. And you have to use everything you pull all these things out of your toolbox. One of those things for you was that you're a very friendly, non-threatening looking person who could talk to these kids. Where if you're like a big gruff investigator guy, you might want to go find somebody who looks like you to ask those questions. Every single case is so different. And that one, I'm sure that worked to your advantage in talking to those little girls.
Let me just address some of these. So Sarah says, identifying demonic. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk tonight. Demonic.
Maybe I can help
you. Seems to be an indication that certain traumatic issues, which causes destructive thought pathways to connect and manifest certain constructs. And that's what you were saying. She was basically, I think, agreeing with you guys.
If I could expand on that a little bit, it's associational. That's another word that you won't find in spell check, but it's one of my words. Associational, because the demon is concerned. And I say demon, we don't have scientific nomenclature to spring off of. The demon is made because it starts with
that's a question.
Noticing phenomena, associating it, like, whoa, this happened. That book came out of its shelf. I don't know how it happened. That's happened before. I hear 3 knocks. 3 knocks must be, that must be menacing. That's the devil's number 3. And then there's sickness in the family. And it's like, why are we all of a sudden getting sick here? Could be black mold. It could be some contagion in the family, but you don't know. And they put it all together. Suddenly it's stamped demonic. And then it started to be dreaded. Once they start to fear the entity, then it takes on a life of its own. And everything that happens, magnifies the premise of a demon. I'm not saying it's all imaginable, by no means, but I say it can be synthesized, and I think it often is. One of my definitions of a demon is a poltergeist with a really poor attitude. That could be, sometimes, like if you've got things flying around the house and a child is saying, by the way, a poltergeist, they fascinate me because they don't just throw dishes and move furniture. They, some poltergeists have voices. Some of them appear as people. Some of them have the alacrity to actually twist bed sheets and blankets into the form of mannequins, like looking like people. They are creative. And that could be interpreted as a demon because it's scary, it's inconvenient, can drive people from their home.
Right.
poltergeist phenomena usually doesn't last more than a year or 2 years. And once the agent is removed from the house, they cease to exist.
But sometimes even talking to that person, sitting down, once you tell them, you seem to have a lot of trauma, and maybe if you spoke to a therapist and started to work out through this, maybe you'd feel better. A lot of times the activity will stop right away once the person realizes it may be them doing it.
Right.
The awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as long as like I say, as long as you can help, like you said, no matter what the answer is, no matter how long the investigation is, what you do, as long as you've helped that person, success.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Analyze it later, your heart's content, but.
Sarah said three knocks always reminds me of Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Penny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I've had the 3 knocks plenty of times. Never knew what it was.
But again, a lot of times people see and hear and feel what they think they should. They think they should be hearing 3 knocks. They think they should be seeing a woman in a white dress. So even if it's something that doesn't happen, maybe it is a dream. They're in like a hypnagogic state, falling asleep or waking up. It's in your mind that you're going, I'm going to see something, if you're into the paranormal, that woman is going to be wearing a white dress.
See, and that's the thing, like I kind of like struggle with going to an investigation. Like I used to not want to know anything about a location because I didn't want it to go into my brain. However, the flip side of that, I'm learning, if you do go in there knowing some of the historical facts of stuff, like not knowing any of the paranormal stuff that people have claimed to have happened, but the historical facts of a place and the actual, you can prove, whatever you read, about the facts of the environment, the facts of the place. I think that's very helpful as an investigator because you kind of go in there thinking, okay, Tom, so-and-so, who owned, who founded the town, built this house. This is where the family lived. There's the, whatever therefore you have something to go on a little bit. If you go in there, with a name, some dates, some actual historical facts.
Yeah.
I would prefer that. I'd prefer to research and know beforehand. I mean, I'm not.
And I think it's helpful to know exactly what's going on, and especially the place. The people who, the place, the activity was seen, heard, whatever, felt, the location in the house, the time of day, who else was home, what was going on, was it, holiday season, everything you can learn about that. Because one of the biggest problems with anything we do, why we haven't proven anything, is replication.
Right.
Things just do not seem to happen as they did the first time.
Right. How can it be a scientific experiment if you can't reproduce the results?
Hauntings are a little bit different. Haunting is an imprint of a person who was living. It's not an actual dead person trying to get in touch with you. So that's when you see people walking through walls or, feeding the cat at 2:00 every day.
Like an atmospheric one, yes.
The same thing at, a certain time period, a certain time of day, a certain place in the house.
So you think like a haunting is AKA a residual thing?
Yes. Hauntings are residual. Apparitions are a consciousness that still exists.
I'll add something to that, though. If you experience a haunting for long enough, I've heard testimony to this, and I've seen it. Something that goes about the same pattern, human imprint, doing the same thing, repetition. If you observe it enough, after a time, or if you speak to it, it will turn and look at you. If you address it enough, if you're fortunate to see it enough times, after a while, they seem to imbue some kind of cognizance, and they turn and look like they're getting some kind of life, some kind of reaction.
Right.
Is that what my ghost did?
That's what my ghost did.
Sarah says, is the best defense against the phenomena is to raise personal resonance and vibration?
Well, if she means to, know yourself and be self-aware, I think so. Make a predetermination that you're not going to be spooked out of a house, and, whatever protective device you use, be it prayer or, preparation. Envision a cone around you that can't be penetrated by anything negative. Yeah,
claim your space.
Yeah, claim your space. Don't let that thing, whatever it is, drive you away.
Hetty says hi, Carl.
Hi, Hetty. Hi.
I think I'm saying the name right.
Let me see who you got
like
here.
Hetty. Yes.
H-E-D.
Oh, Hetty. Yeah. Seems Scandinavian. Hi, Hetty. I wonder if that's one of my new Icelandic friends. Huh? Could be.
But yeah, claim your space in your way. If your way is to meditate, raise your vibration, listen to some tones, or meditate, chant, whatever, pray if you're religious. If you're just a big oaf just running around going, hey, get the hell out of my house. Whatever works for you. Claim your space. Tell them to get lost.
Tell them to get lost. I love the accent.
Tell them to go.
Yeah. You could say, hey, you want an exorcism? I know a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, you did that so good. Yeah.
Tata, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. She asked, or he asked, do either of you think the ongoing weirdness with some political movements is demonically inspired?
I think it's ego inspired. I think everybody wants to be something, and everybody just needs to calm down and just be people.
It's demonic when you're on the receiving end and you don't want it. Yeah. But, you can make a conspiracy theory, even that. I'm not saying it's not legitimate. Sometimes it seems like the strings are being pulled. Like, how can this be? But you're looking at certain edicts, certain criteria that make it seem that. And some people have said, how can you think that demons aren't taking over the world? When you look at the world theater, what's happening now? Well, now there are nearly 8 billion people, so more of it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's easy to connect the dots.
But a lot of these experiences that people think are demonic, he's had more experience investigating and talking to people who have had these kinds of things happen, where my learning is more book learning, except I have suffered from sleep paralysis.
You had the experience.
And it happened before I knew what it was. The first couple of times I was in college, overstressed, and I used to think that I was being abducted by aliens. I didn't know how else to describe it.
Wow.
And I'd hear a loud buzzing. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. It was terrifying. But after the first couple of times, I'd be like, okay, you woke up last time, you'll wake up again this time. I just try to meditate through it, even though that's, I realize now that's what it was. So, reading the things I like to read, one day I come across a paragraph on sleep paralysis. I was like, holy cow, that's what was happening to me. So, you live and you learn. It happened again. It had to be a year and a half ago to me, which I started hearing the buzzing, and I'm like, really? Now? I couldn't think of why it would be happening. I really thought there was somebody in my room. I heard him walk in. I heard him hold me down. I was sleeping alone. So I was like, okay, this is just that sleep paralysis thing. Get over it. Then it continued. I couldn't fall asleep, and I thought it was somebody in my house. I'm like, well, somebody I know, somebody who lives there, or did somebody break in? And they were just like, and I was trying to get out of, like a full body press. I was just trying to squirm my way out. Like, I'm trying to remember like judo moves and stuff. And finally, I did just meditate my way through it. But after that experience, I now realize why these people really think there's something in their room.
Right.
It's absolutely terrifying.
But what do you think now?
But how do you explain that to people?
Was it?
That's the problem. Yes, that's
well, I mean, especially when people are convinced that what they're experiencing is something, it's really hard. I mean, the mind is a powerful thing.
That was the thing. Knowing what I know, it still frightened me. My mind was still going back and forth between, wait a minute, I think this is real. Oh, wait a minute, I think this is, some entity, because I don't see anything.
Yeah, well, I began my parent. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, and that's me who, mostly skeptic of these things, that it's something real happening. And my mind was still going there.
I actually began my paranormal studies when I was 11. One of my earliest readings was, I read novels when I was 9, but I read Krafft Ebing's Psychopathia Sexualis. I wanted to find out about the propensities and the aberrations of the human mind.
Alrighty,
and when I was 13, I'll tell this quickly. I was 13 years of age. I woke up. I don't even think it was a school day. I hope not. But I woke up and I had no body. I mean, I was aware. I wasn't dreaming. I woke up and this is amusing. I can blink. I think I'm blinking, but I can't move my jaw. I can't feel anything. I don't have a body. I have absolutely no sensation under the bed covers. There's nothing to me. I can't move. And then after a few minutes of this, panic started to set in because I started to think, maybe I'm a really weird case where I woke up paralyzed. And slowly over the course of the next half hour, I guess, sensation returned to my body, going through I could move my jaw. Oh, good. And then it traveled down. Then I could move a finger. It went down through my body, and I was eventually, of course, able to get out of bed. But that was real. I could not budge. What was that to me then? What was I reading at the time? To me, I was astral traveling in the night. The silver cord had been stretched too far. Took a while for my soul or my astral body to come back into my physical body, and then I could move. That's why the sensation returned from the top down, and that's what I believed. I didn't have any other way to interpret it. Now I see it as a form of extended sleep paralysis. I don't see it as it could be anything else.
Right. When you don't know, like I said, I thought I was being abducted by aliens when I was in college. I was like,
What is going on here?
Yeah, it was really strange.
Well, some people don't analyze it further, really. I'm not saying everybody's wrong or even a certain way of thinking is right. I tend to think some of my ways are right. But it's like when the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were subjectivists. When they came into a house, and there was one house, notorious house in particular, in Harrisville, Rhode Island, that I contacted, or my brother and I contacted, our team did contacted the Warrens, with whom I was acquainted. It's not that we felt we were in over our heads at any time. We just thought we could benefit from the Warrens' vast experience. They volunteered to come there, or they went there and they volunteered to, they actually took over our case. They usurped it. And at that moment, it ceased being an investigation, which we were conducting, and became an intercession. There's no more analyzing it. They pronounced it demonic, and they proceeded like that.
Right. It's almost like what MUFON does, right? You report something to MUFON. If they find it anything credible, they're like, okay, it's ours now. You don't hear nothing else from it.
Yeah, they tend to do that. So I've heard. Yeah.
Has anyone ever seen the shadow man who wears a fedora hat? This is crazy that this keeps coming up in my life in the last 2 weeks.
Really?
Oh, really? That's funny how these experiences are contained. They come for a while and then they cease. So that adds to their reality. Yeah, I've seen it. Well, in a photograph, he looked like he had a hat. That's one of the strange things about shadow people is they can sometimes be photographed. They don't mean to come out in photographs, I don't think, but sometimes they do. And
I wonder, do you know Greg? Do you know Greg O'Brien?
No, I don't.
So he runs Fort Mifflin.
Okay, that's where I've heard the name. Yeah.
Okay, he has this picture of a man. But actually, it looks like a cowboy hat, though, not a fedora. So never mind. I take it back.
Yeah. Well, in Slater Mill, historic Slater Mill site, we had a shadow person, and he was in one. It was in one building. Well, one time we saw a shadowy form in another building too, so maybe it moved over. But it was in the water wheel pit and the machine shop exhibit of the Wilkinson Mill on the campus, and that. The guy seemed to have. The shadow would float around. It looked like a person, and in a photograph, by gum, it looks like it has a hat. You can read that into it. But like you say, not really a cowboy hat, or more like a slouch brim, something projecting. And it really looked like it was wearing a cloak. So why do they do that? I don't know. They're not normal ghosts, are they?
Who knows? Who knows? Sarah says, when it comes to PK phenomena and poltergeist activity, how do you tell the difference between the actions that seem to have intent versus not?
Well, PK phenomena and poltergeist activity come from humans. They don't come from consciousness or entities that are just surviving. And usually it is unintentional. It is someone who is, I don't want to say mentally ill because it's not always mentally ill, but there is something going on where there is this energy that's just held inside.
Like a tightly coiled spring.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Like like you said, someone who's had definite trauma and they're holding it in, and it's coming out in other ways. I don't know if you ever worked in an office where there seems to be one person that can walk by the copy machine and break it.
Who was that?
There can be me. I found that out years later. Yeah, I found that. That's why I always remember this one. I don't even have to use things. They just break. All the electronics used to break in my offices in the jobs I hated. And that's an example of PK, mind over matter. That's why a lot of PK experiments are done with a random number generator. This thing will just spit out these random signals translated as random numbers that'll go on for 1 million digits, totally random. And some people can meditate near them and get them to come out with, they're not random anymore, some kind of a pattern. They can actually affect machines. Those have been a couple of actual proven experiments. I find that fascinating. I find that almost fascinating as, the existence of, consciousness after death, that we have these powers that we can't even, only a few people can really control and do things with.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They can be developed sometimes, intentionally or otherwise. Well, I had a similar. Well, I've had that in many environments where machinery would work for another person, not for me. But I found a cure for that. I confronted it. There was a video play screen, big screen in the Slater Mill gift shop, and we would play educational videos and continue to play. And one of the things I would do, I was often one of the first one in, and I would turn that on. It was one of our duties, turn on the screen. And I'm pressing the button. I know how to do this. It's just not turning on. I'll try it again. It needs new batteries. And one of the women would come on. So I can't get this. You take it, and it would work, which was frustrating, because it makes me look dumb. And I said, I'm going to play with this. This is fun. Now I'm going to confront all the times things like this have happened to me. I said to the screen and the remote, I said, I'm on to you. And I'm going to share this with people, my coworkers. I'm on to you. And then from then on, I paid very careful attention to how I was operating the machine. But from then on, it worked for me. No problem at all. Because I think, because I was going to show people, like, look, it's not working for me. Now you try it. But, I mastered it.
And like most things, it's hard to say whether that was your intent.
Yeah, it's
your
kind of
unintent
fun.
affecting it, and then your intent making it work. Or something playing with you in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I wonder. Slater Mill was so haunted. Maybe that took on a personality too. Genuinely haunted too. It was fun.
So
I miss Slater Mill days. Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, so Jonathan had a question. He said, "Can I ask a question about something that happened to me? And y'all please tell me what I went through. I was told sleep paralysis, and I was awake, and I know it." So Jonathan actually in the comments goes on to tell everything that happened. It's quite long. So is it okay that I give him your contact, wherever he can email you guys so that you guys can maybe talk to him about it?
Oh, definitely. Or on Facebook. Send us a message. Panorama Paranormal.
All right. So PANA.
PANO.
Panoramic.
I thought it was
Panorama.
Rama, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Panorama.
Yeah. Paranormal.
Panorama, Babama, Bibama.
No.
And there ain't no name that I can't rhyme.
I'm having a hard time today.
That's a tough one. I have to go back. I remember many times I typed that. I have to go check it. Sometimes I'll add a
Panorama Paranormal. See?
Panorama Paranormal.
I'll add an orama onto it a lot of times, and I got 6 syllables instead of 4.
So John, I'm not trying to be rude. I want them to address, and I want them to have the opportunity to hear your story.
You get all the facts about it. Yeah.
I would like to follow up on that. Yes. I like it when something throws the monkey wrench into my theories and my learning. Sometimes it's not so easy to explain away empirically.
Right. And that's the problem with a lot of investigators is, here's your answer. This is what it is. No, I'm going to tell you, what I really, really think it is, give you some examples of what it was like or why I think this way. That's why we have 2 people on our team, is because we between us, we know a little bit of everything, but we both know a lot of people who know a lot about certain subjects. We know some mediums, we know some tech people, we know, a carpenter, a pest control guy, if you're hearing scratching in your walls, you know what I mean? I would rather bring in the person who knows, gather all these things together, bring in people who are experts in their little part of it and bring in
Yes.
that information.
So even though we're a team of 2, we're a team of 20 a lot of times.
But it's
'cause we're
amazing.
young.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right. Help the people.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. I just want to answer Sarah. Yes, I actually have Mike Ricksecker on.
Mike Ricksecker.
Eh,
I
oh,
had
yeah,
him on,
with the shadow people.
I had him on like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I do need to talk to him, and I think I have to talk to Justin Bamforth as well, because this keeps coming up, and I actually saw something on vacation last week that I've never seen in my entire life. So
wow.
yeah, I'm a little bugged out about it. Not like scared, but like
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this before in my life. And I don't see, I usually hear.
Yeah.
And I heard nothing,
Wow.
but I saw something, and it just, so I need to
Oh
talk
yeah,
to
he covers it all in the shadow dimension.
It
Yeah.
was. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the first season of, and I have not talked about this publicly yet because it still is kind of like, a little freaky to me. But the first season of American Horror Story. Did you guys see that?
No.
So I watched
I've
the
seen a
first
couple
season.
of
The
that.
first season was amazing. But she kept seeing this, what looked like a man in just a real tight black leotard suit, right? And you could see nothing, but you could tell it was like a figure of a person, but you couldn't see anything else because it was just all black. And I saw that in our house when we were on vacation, in the vacation house, and I saw, but it had like a glow around it, and I only saw half of its body, and it was gone. And I didn't hear anything. I didn't even hear anything around me for the 2 seconds that I saw it. Like I didn't hear people talking. I was like, I'm like, did somebody just walk over there?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I said that one of the dogs coming from around the corner. So I was like, did I see the dog go that? Like I questioned myself 1,000 times. Like, okay, was it the dog? I tried moving my head to see if a piece of hair went somewhere, but then it's like it's like burned in my brain what I saw. I can't unsee it, so I'm trying to find these other things that look like it, but nothing's happening. Yeah. And I just remember distinctively seeing that, and I don't know what I saw. So, but anyways, I don't know where I went there, but yes.
No, that's interesting.
This happened after I interviewed Mike Ricksecker and Justin Bamforth. So
those are specialists in shadow people and interdimensional travelers.
Yeah.
Not too many people have done a thorough study on shadow apparitions, but Mike has. And he came to Rhode Island to visit me for a few days, and last year, or the year before last now.
Yeah.
And I told him about the shadow person in the Slater Mill campus in that 1811 building. It was built between 1810 and 1811. And it was in the levels where the shadow person manifested. It was only men working there through a lot of its history, but women could work on the upper floors. And that shadow ghost was in the machine shop and in the water wheel pit. And I was able to interact with it to some degree. I found out if you treated it certain ways, it would do more. The shadow ghost, if it was yelled at, because that was in vogue for a while, like, come on, you coward, show yourself.
Right.
I defy you to do anything to me. It was just, the shadow ghost attitude was like, yeah, I don't need this, I got better things to do. And it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't toss something at a time. But if I went into the machine shop, and this happened twice, and plenty of witnesses to it. They would come back and tell the story. I would say, I'd have the group with me for the ghost hunt, the evening tours, and I would say, I would address the spirit. I would say, we have brought women and young folk into your mill. I realize that is a violation of mill protocol, so if you want us to clear out, just give us a sign and we'll leave. We'll leave anyway, but we'll leave a little sooner if you give us some sign. Twice when I said that, a heavy spike flew across the machine shop. Ding, 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 ding. So I used to leave the spike there so it could repeat itself, and the shadow ghost was seen up there. But that's mild provocation. I was very respectful to the shadow person. And the shadow person wouldn't do anything for a while when I brought the groups in downstairs. So I used to give it an offering, like paying the ferryman over the river Styx. I would take colored glass pebbles, and I would have people, or little black stones, and I would have everybody there as audience participation. Toss that into the water of the water wheel pit that powered the mill. Just toss it in. You can make a wish. He's not going to grant it, but you can make a wish if you want. And the shadow person started to appear. People say, "Oh, I see something there." And, yeah, I saw it too. And pulled the girl's hair, lifted it straight up. Shadow person started to do more when we treated him respectfully. I would give him a little token, and I would always thank him.
Well, we were there for a week, and this was like the second day, and I didn't see anything before or after. I didn't see anything after that. The funny thing is I'm not a psychic medium or anything like that. The only thing I do is sometimes I can hear answers to questions, which I catch on record.
Yes.
But when I got there, I felt like there was something there, but far away. I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah.
It felt like something was there, but it wasn't in our space. It was kind of just like,
it's a sensation of perceiving something that's at the other end of a tunnel, but not that. It's there, and yet you can't grasp it. That there's a barrier.
It was weird. I just got that weird feeling, but I didn't think twice about it. I didn't say anything to anybody because everybody I went with, they're not in the paranormal at all. Nobody else is. So nobody else is.
You have something happen that time,
right? So, but when I saw that thing, I said something because one, it freaked me out for a second because I'm like, did I really just see that? And I said to my boyfriend standing there, I go, did somebody just walk over there? Like, where's who? Where's where? And I'm automatically like asking, where is everybody? He said, no, he said, no, nobody's over there. It was just Coda, who I told you the dog walked around the corner after I saw it. He said he told me where everybody was. And I'm like, but I didn't hear anything. Like if it was a person, I would have heard them walking across the floor. It was a wooden floor. So I was like, why didn't I? It was like dead silence for that 2 seconds. I'm like, I didn't hear anything. Now that I think about it, like I didn't even hear anything. So it was just the strangest experience that I've ever had to this date.
Yeah. Well, obviously there was something there with you. You know it.
Yeah. I mean, Tata says sleep paralysis can be neutralized by swallowing. It is the safety switch to tell the body to you are awake.
Yeah, I've learned a few things since then. That's what I'm saying. I actually know all these things, and it still scared the crap out of me. I was just looking at my tablet. I got this book. It's called Sleep Paralysis: A Guide to Hypnagogic Visions and Visitors of the Night by Ryan Hurd. And that was very helpful. There was a lot of information in there that explained a lot of things.
You've heard of old hag syndrome.
Yeah.
Where somebody
somebody else mentioned that.
They're half awake, hypnagogic state, and they feel the pressure on their chest, and they may see something up there. I actually had that when I was my parents' house was haunted. I probably had something to do with that, with the Ouija board play. But when we were little kids, things were going on there. And I used to see a ghostly form. I don't know if you'd call that an apparition, Elise. Some people might not classify it as that.
Did it respond to you?
At first it just walked by me. It had to be a reason it was there and walking through my room. Then one morning, it was next to my bed. I wasn't half asleep, but it was next to my bed, and it was looking at me. And I said, "Hello." I thought we got a guest just for that second. I said, "Hello." And then I had a chance to realize who I was looking at. That's the lady. And she's standing in front of my bed. She always had her hands clasped and her arms folded in front of her. And I could see like a few hairs, from where she had her hair pulled back and some strands of hair. I distinctly remember her eyes looking at me with that spirit look where they don't blink, just a static glance, but intently looking at me. And then she just evaporated from the bottom up. But one time, I think the last time I experienced her that close, I was if it was her, I was laying in the bed, and then I was half asleep. All of a sudden, this thing was on top of me, and I kind of saw her face, but it was too close to focus, pushing me down. And I was like, "Oh God!" That was a panicky moment. I don't know. Was that a very lucid, real-seeming dream? Was that her? Was that the ghost I had definitely seen? Um,
Oh,
Did it look like the one on-
since we're talking about her, Sarah said, did you eventually help the lady in lace?
No, there's nothing I could do for her that I know of. I mean, I talked to her nicely. I communicated with her. I don't. Maybe she did communicate because I remember the date. It was August 23rd, 1973. I was investigating the Perrin house in Harrisville, Rhode Island at the time, but I wasn't there. I was down in my parents' basement with a friend of mine. We used to experiment with ritual magic. We were just doing like a documentary on our magic and talking with each other. We played back the recording, not expecting anything. And we heard a voice in slow motion. Help me. Playing it several times. I said, that's saying someone help me.
Oh,
We were
wow.
shocked. I mean, I'd never heard of a spirit communicating in a recording. I didn't know the term EVP then.
Right.
In Search Of came along and explained that to me. The show hosted by Leonard Nimoy. And yeah, that was the best. Still ranks the best. And my friend's cassette recorder could speed it up. It sped it up, and then it becomes a female tone voice, and it says, Carl, help me, help. And you hear some tapping, like pum, 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 pum. I didn't know how to help it. I mean, I tried an experiment with spirit rescue. I don't know if it succeeded, but that was always a mystery. Now, was that the woman I saw in the basement? Was that a voice from my future, from my past, or was it a lost, trapped spirit? I can't know. Just can't know. I just know it said, someone help me. Oh, actually, Carl, help me. And I'd like to.
Who's here?
Who? Oh, my word.
It's a Jing from Indonesia.
Yeah. In fact, I'll say Ajung. It's more like that, but
is it? I've always said a Jing. She never has corrected.
Well, that's not how it's spelled, but actually, it's a very slight U sound. Is young, not Ajung, but is young.
I love her, so
I know you do. Well, she's so nice and good. And did she have a question? She's just saying hello.
Jonathan, is there a direct message via Facebook for you guys so he can?
Yes, on Panorama Paranormal.
Yep.
On Facebook.
Panorama Paranormal. If you go there, there's a way to direct. And I think Hetty, you should probably reach out to them as well.
Yes.
She's been writing in here, and I'm not being rude. I'm sorry. I only get a certain amount of time. I can,
we don't go into depth in too many things because we won't touch all the depths
much
of
as
it
we'd
anyway.
like to. Yeah, we're not hard to find.
If you guys don't mind, I have those two to reach out to.
Please, if anybody wants to reach out to us and write with a question.
A lot of groups have the heading of Panorama, but we're the only Panorama Paranormal. So you'll find us, by default anyway. You can find our, and then follow up on our website. But yeah, write to us on Facebook. We'll get back to you.
And if you're having a hard time, please message Paranormal Brew, or me, and I can always get a hold of Carl, and maybe I can give you his email or whatever. But
yes,
you'll be able to find him on Facebook. So what's coming up for you guys?
Several things. Do you want to field that? I mean, I know what we're up to.
I'll do the one that we're doing, and then the one that you're doing. On October 13th, we're doing a fundraiser for the Johnston Historical Society.
Yay, I love it.
Society, because we have an 1825 house in the front. And we also have a museum here with a big meeting room. So we're going to be doing spooky stories. We're going to invite people from town, because sometimes we've done library talks where you talk for an hour and the next hour is everybody coming up to you telling you their haunted house story.
Right.
We're going to try to flip that around a little bit this time and say, come and tell us your haunted house story.
It's brilliant. I love it. That's awesome. What a great idea.
Stories to tell too.
Yes, people are usually more than willing to share their stories.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Sarah, you're my spirit animal. I just said this today at work. I said Halloween is Christmas to me.
Well, would be for you, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Gives you the joys, the jollies.
Yes, it does. From September on. September's Halloween Eve. And then you have, I'm already decorating. I got decorations outside. I'm like, my boyfriend's getting my Halloween stuff down. I'm excited.
Oh, nice. There's the Sleepy
Sorry,
Hollow.
go ahead. Continue.
Sleepy Hollow Paracon you're going to be at. October 22nd.
Yeah.
Weekend after that is the Seekers
of the Supernatural.
Seekers of the Supernatural. I never get that right.
Yeah. Ed's son-in-law, Lorraine's.
Oh wait,
yeah,
you're the
well,
Warren
actually,
Paracon?
What?
He's going to be at the Warren Paracon.
Yes,
yeah.
the Warren Paracon.
I'll see you.
No, I'll be there, but I'm not going to be speaking or anything.
No, you'll be there. Fine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna group hug it out. I love it.
Yes, this is people we see. You know, James and Nito will be there. Some people I see once a year. You know, there like my twin brother Keith. You know, don't see him very frequently. But you know, a lot of notables you could say in the field, and it's a fun gathering, but it's growing exponentially. Really, Warren Seekers of the Supernatural. That's because Tony Sparrow, you know, Ed Lorraine's son-in-law, did a video show where he would interview the Warrens weekly. You know, who were his in-laws because he married Judy Sparrow, and she was Judy Warren, and that was a video play once a week, which was an interesting talk show. They were the only guests, but that was good. And
well, who else would you need?
Yeah, that's right. When it's the Warrens will deliver. And
although I've had some pretty awesome people on my show, I gotta say. I've loved
thank you. You've had some notables, some memorables.
Yep, every single one of my guests except one. And
yeah, that's a show in itself. We would digress, would we not?
Yes, we would.
Oh yeah, but the name of that video show was it's kind of done like the old David Susskind show. It's Warren's Seekers of the Supernatural, and that is the name of the conference, the Para Conference.
Yep, I'll be there.
I'll be one of the speakers. Panel discussion. What do we got? Okay, tell her about our show. What's that was supposed to be just a note to me. You didn't want to read it. Yeah.
That was adorable.
Yeah.
I might as well just go and shouted it.
No, we have a show. She's still using sign language to me over here.
What?
If you want to know, it's this. Yeah.
Tell about things to say, and I wanted you to say.
We have our own para show, podcast style show.
Yes. Tell us about
Panoramic Perspectives, just so somebody can get even more confused trying to read and say that. And it's new. We'll have a third episode. What? Panoramic Perspectives.
And it's on Dead Air Full Spectrum on every other Thursday. We do have a show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, right? Yes, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock till 9.
Just an hour long, just talking with people, letting them just tell us what they do, basically.
Yes.
We've had we had our first guest 2 weeks ago.
That was fun. Yeah.
She was a medium, Christine Chin Downs.
Yeah, we did an introductory show telling about us and our unit, and then our research unit. And then the next show was having Christine Chin Downs, who's this what is it called?
Metaphysical medium.
Metaphysical medium. Not, I don't know anybody else that.
And she started later in life. She's not one who always thought that she did this all her entire life. She was around the paranormal with her brother Joe Chin on Ghost Hunters. And
I was gonna say Chin. That's why does that last
name? Yeah, it's Joe's sister. But she started realizing that she just knew the answers to things that people were trying to figure out, and now she's started doing readings. So awesome. We had her on. It was nice to talk to someone like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What she does. That tomorrow night.
When you have people on like that, you have to try not to talk about. If I ever Satori Halls is supposed to come on, and how do you not talk about Jay?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had Jay on, I've had Jay on and we're friends, but if you take that part out of it and you're interviewing Satori Halls, how do you not say, oh, your dad? Let's talk about what's your dad, what's Ghost Hunters? You know what I mean? It's kind of, so that's
I bet you get questions, dude. What does Dad say about this? What does Jason say about that? Yeah. Well, tomorrow night we'll have on Jay Prather.
Oh, he's a great guest.
Oh, you must know him. He's
awesome.
He is a developer. Some people say gadget man. I say he's developer of paranormal detecting equipment, because most of the stuff that we use in the investigations was not designed for paranormal investigating. It's instrumentation that's sensitive to electrical impulses and electromagnetic fields. So naturally it's incorporated into paranormal investigation. But he takes it a step further and he gets his machines to communicate with each other, and he's always working on something.
Yeah.
He's innovative, in a word.
Oh yeah.
Hello, Bouldermuckers.
Good name.
They're awesome. Their show's really, really good. Just check it out. I love their
I
show.
definitely have to with that name.
Bill Chappell is definitely somebody that I would like to have on for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him.
Mm.
So you got your show, and it's every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday, if you can gauge it, like tomorrow night, Thursday night.
I know this really cool chick who has like a show every Wednesday at 7:30. Should probably ask her to come on. I don't
know.
I
thought of that.
You must be intuiting my thoughts.
Right?
Don't you like that word? It's better than intuitive or sensitive.
I love how I'm just like primping myself.
Because I was just going to say that. I was going to say this blonde chick. That's. I was going to say the same thing. I guess we were thinking of the same thing.
Awkward. No,
it's so cool. You just have me on the other side for a change. I don't
get to do that. I mean, I'm going to be on a couple of shows, but I don't get to do that very often, and so it's kind of weird to me to be on the other side of it. But
well, yeah, it's kind of weird tonight not have to prepare anything. I mean, I just read about what these people do, so when they start talking, I can just kind of clear it out.
It will be like
grocery list.
This will be
to-do list.
This will be Taryn's questions. What guests do you like best? What guest did you like the least? Why do you believe in supernatural? We'll give you some really in-depth questions there.
Wow.
What scares Taryn?
Yeah. Well, everybody knows what scares me.
Yes, we do.
So leave the Dybbuk box at home.
Well, it wasn't so much.
Annabelle at home.
It wasn't so much Dybbuk as talking about them like Annabelle types, which don't bother me, but they can be a little spooky because I kind of expect them to look up at you.
They watch you.
Haunted dolls, no haunted dolls.
Hey, take a haunted doll and enclose it in a Dybbuk box.
I will tell you
with duct tape.
My legit fear, if I've never felt fear like this, so I know that this is an actual legit fear. Roaches. That is, I will clam up. I become rigor mortis. I sweat. My heart pounds, and I do not move. Don't move. And I scream for somebody to fucking help me because I feel like I'm going to die. I'm like, no.
Wow. Well, a guest that bopped in, you have a guest that bopped in to say hi, as young. I don't know if she wants me to say this, but she wouldn't mind. The ghost in her house kills cockroaches. And that's how it lets. That's how.
Oh my God, I need that one. Ajang, please share. Not that I have roaches in my house.
It leaves. It doesn't just kill them. It leaves dead ones like in a, path. So
I don't have any in my house, but I would use it as a protector to not ever come across one.
Well, yeah, I thought it would be beneficial for me to mention that to you.
She said yes.
That's nice. Oh God. And your house is haunted. They're even killing the cockroaches. Maybe they're working their way up to pets. I don't know, but
God, no! Oh my God!
I know some people who have cockroaches. They're Madagascar hissing roaches. They're like this big. They're like this long. They're incredible.
Incredible. Oh. Anybody that knows me knows how much I value life, whether it's animal, bug. I literally save flies and I catch them and I throw them outside. I won't.
How nice of you.
I can't kill anything. I can't even kill a roach. I can't kill it. But my God, I just.
Oh my goodness.
So anybody else can get rid of it. I don't even care. I just. Oh my God, no. We were at a place called Longwood Gardens one time. And it's a beautiful place. If you guys at Christmas time, the entire place is lit up. It's like a Christmas light wonderland, right? And we're walking through and they have these bonsai trees, and these bonsai trees go from like 1800 something all the way up to like 1999. So like you're walking down, you're just looking at this. Now this family was in front of us who were Spanish, and they were talking Spanish the entire time. So I couldn't understand anything they were saying. And I'm walking behind them and, this, that. And she goes, "Oh, mama, like a gorocha." I'm like, "Oh, shit."
Could you interpret that? How did you do that one there?
I got out of line so quick. I hauled my ass out of that place. I'm not even
Wow.
kidding you. Everybody I was with was like, "Where the hell did Taryn go?" There was people laughing. I'm like, "No, no, no, no,
Oh,
no, no."
that's
I
hilarious.
said, "Why was she talking about that thing like she was excited, like she was going to take it home as a pet?" I'm like, "Uh-uh." Oh, I ran so fast out of that place, and I am not even kidding you. I didn't even care to see the rest of it. I had to go. I left.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Feliz Navidad.
No, I've had experience with environments, you know. I loathe them. Well, I don't hate them intrinsically, but I loathe them so much that when I saw one in an apartment I was in the east side of Providence, you know, it was crawling out. I said, "Oh no, we got these things." It was crawling on the kitchen stove, and it was an electric. It was an electric stove, and I just like turned that on and like, you know, please don't leave before you fry. I just have to see this. I
Did it
have to
fry?
see. Yeah, it did. I got
Yeah?
it. You know, it was just about to run off, and
Must have smelled bad.
yeah, they do have a distinctive stink to them.
Who? What does?
No, but I used to work in an art.
Burning
Yeah,
cockroaches.
I worked in the major art store in Providence,
Oh,
Rhode Island. I worked there for 9 years, and
literally, my toes are like crunched right now, even talking.
well,
Like,
we were direct. Our building. I can't say the name of the restaurant. It would, you know, because you know, restaurant things happen. But we worked above this restaurant, and sometimes we'd have the cockroaches coming up, and you know, it's fun to be.
Have you on
It's
anymore.
amusing. No, I'll just tell it quickly. When I'm at the counter, and yes, sir, how may I help you? Your needs, you know. And he's looking for certain materials, and then there's something walking. And I don't want the customer to see that, so I have to. How many times did I go? You know. Or one time I was like, you know, I think we have the color you're looking for. You know, cerulean blue. What do you
oh
want?
my
You know,
God.
like
My
that.
goodness.
But you just deal with it. Those are fond memories. Boy, so long ago. I'm sorry, Taryn. Went segued from dolls into La Cucaracha.
You know?
I won't do it anymore.
My feet are literally curled up like this, and I'm like, my butt is clenching, and I can't even. Like, I am like freaking out.
Well, we're gonna have a post-it note. You know, topics not to broach to Taryn. You know,
Even that sounds too close to Roach.
Broach, roach.
topics not to broach to Taryn. You know,
We don't want to
That's good.
encroach on her fears.
So
Oh,
did we get, before I rudely probably interrupted, you know, because I have
no,
ADD, but did we get through everything? And you know what's interesting? And we don't have to talk about this right now, but somebody just mentioned something about shadow cats. This is interesting to me because I thought I saw a cat anomaly in my house, whatever it was. But maybe it was a shadow cat. I've never knew of such a thing. So I want to try to maybe research that a little bit and find out. Have you guys ever heard of shadow cats?
I've heard of cat apparitions.
cat apparitions. Yeah. Well, sometimes they just appear. They are visible for such a brief moment that you see a shadow go by, and I have heard of that. I think I even experienced it. You know, it was outside
It was
in the
Victoria.
garden, and I saw this like, oh, there's a cat there, and I thought, is that a? No, rats aren't that big now. What is that thing? And then I thought, well, maybe it's a puppy, but this is all within a few seconds, and there was nothing there. I said, I know, I saw the cat slink. I know how they walk. You know, like, and it was gone.
Yeah.
So
Now,
maybe
one of my first home investigations, I thought the woman actually had, it wasn't a shadow cat. It was actually, I saw a gray and white cat jump over my feet. And I moved in such a way where I thought I was in its way. So I like jumped back and she's like, are you okay? When we were just talking to her, and I said, I was your cat, like just getting out of the way of your cat. He was like running across. She goes, I don't have a cat. I'm like, you don't have a gray and white cat? And she was like, he passed away a year ago.
Oh my gosh.
I said, stop.
That's a wonderful story. That's
It's wonderful, but at the time I was like, stop. I don't do this. I don't do this, But then at my current house is when I thought I saw a black cat, and I thought it was maybe my Zeus that passed away, but it didn't feel close. It didn't feel familiar.
Yeah.
And I heard it. It jumped down off of the banister, and I heard like if the cat were to
those little footfalls. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it was a shadow cat. I never heard of such a thing.
Oh yeah, a friend in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. The cat was a member of their family, and they took it to have it put down, and then they, buried it, had a little ceremony. That, I guess, was late that afternoon as my friend Eric was walking up the steps, and he said, "Hello, Salem." And they're like, "Wait a minute, we buried Salem." He's just so used to saying, "Hello, Salem," on the stairs, and
Yeah.
he knows he saw it, saw the
Yeah.
kid.
I mean,
I've got 2 black cats and 1 gray one. So they all look like shadows to me.
And they love you so much.
Yeah.
When you're feeding them.
did you guys say everything that was coming up? I know I rudely interrupted.
Warren Seekers at the end of October, I think, is the last one that we know about so far.
Yeah. We had 2 television episodes that debuted this year that she and I were both on.
Tell us.
Oh, well, one was on the CW network. That was Mysteries Decoded. Yeah. And the other was from A Haunting on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. You can always find it if you're looking for it. And that was Inner Demons, aptly titled Inner Demons. And I think why that show was so popular is because it wasn't just all about the ghosties. It had a psychological twist to it and tied it into the.
And it had that magic word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inner Demons. Well, there was a good reason to call it that.
Yeah.
Not a hostile haunt.
Yeah.
But it's a complex, probably the most complex situation I've run into. And,
Yeah.
You need almost a degree in psychology.
What awesome. So people watching, make sure you guys check that out. Go check their shows out. And hey, Bri. Make sure you guys go check out those shows for sure. I'm going to check out the Inner Demon one. That sounds awesome.
Inner Demons. Yeah. Yep. You'll find it if you poke around.
Yeah, we've stayed in touch with those people too.
Yeah, the actors who portrayed us were producers, and
they still like walking around doing recordings. And
oh, you mean the clients themselves, the real life? Yeah. Yes, we have, and
what was interesting was we filmed that during COVID, and it wasn't like a regular TV show at all. It was like one person in a room at a time with like just the producer and one cameraman. Like when go to lunch at Dunkin' Donuts, you can't stay
it's
here.
It's usually people bumping into each other.
Usually like so many people on a show,
right?
So, but then when it was finally going to air, the clients, they lived in an apartment, and their friend was having a preview party, and they invited us. So we got to see the final product with them. So of course you just start thinking,
that's cool. So what did they say? That was cool.
Well, how did they twist my words? Because you never know, the answers are all going to line up. But they did a really good job, I gotta say.
It was done, yeah.
Hey,
that
was
well, they had actors portraying us, and then they interviewed us on camera. But actors that was the second time I had an actor portray me. Both actors were better looking than I think. Yeah. Now, one had me as a teenager, one episode of A Haunting, and the other as an adult. And I was in touch with the actor afterwards, John Castle, and I asked him. I said, "Did they select you because we look alike?" He said that was the real reason I was hired. He said I had to audition anyway, but they did choose me on the basis that I look like you. And I said, "You talk like me too." He said, "Well," he said, "at least Nikki had a real job like portraying Elise because we couldn't find anything about her on the internet. So you're all over the internet, so I could." I say, "Yeah, you kind of use my long words and everything."
Hetty says you're handsome.
Oh, thank you, Hetty. Okay, yeah. Well, I've been told that like a couple of times.
Listen, when I watched ID on Discovery,
thank you very much.
And I was like addicted to Joe Kenda shows, Homicide Hunter. Yeah. His actors didn't look like him.
Oh, well, often they don't.
Yeah.
They go for people like when they did my story of growing up in a haunted house. Well, they focus on 1 year when I'm 16 years of age, and my mother, bless her, she it'll be October 1st makes 3 years since my mother passed away, but she did get to see that television episode where actors portraying our family. And my mother would sit there and she'd say, I thought she'd say, well, this is good. This is an interesting episode. I'm glad they told our story. No, she said, that woman looks nothing like me. And she was 90 at the time. I said, actually, Mom, she does look like you. They selected this actress. She kind of looks like you. I submitted pictures. She looks nothing like me. Yeah. I said, I wasn't that heavy. I said, Mom, you weren't that slim,
Oh my gosh, Carl, you don't say that.
Yeah. My father, they added about 40 pounds onto his weight, you know, but you know, it was fun. It was just so fun to watch that because in one shot, and it was a pretty accurate episode. They have to tie everything together at the end with that one, you know, kind of hastily. But my brother is they're recreating when my brother, my sister, and I would play on the Ouija board, except my brother was always adamantly against it, but he would watch. He was a voyeur, you know? And so they had my sister, Cynthia, and I playing on the Ouija board, my younger sister, and we asked a question, how can you show yourself? And the planchette, which happened, planchette spells out cellar, cellar, and then the planchette flies off the board. They don't say Ouija board, like spirit board, because Ouija is a trade name. And it flies off the board, and we're all looking, and they have the actor who played me say, cellar. I'm going down to the cellar. And then my twin brother Keith, the actor, says, the cellar? No way. And we're watching that, and my brother's standing there. My brother said, I never said that. And I went, yeah, you did. You just did. Yeah. So that was fun. It was funny when they said, my parents go out to their dance lesson and they say, and we're going out to our dance lesson. Now buckle down, no horseplay. The actor, my father says, and the actor playing Carl, it says, they go, yeah, Dad. And then they have the actor turn around, handsome young guy. They have him turn around and it says, the narrator, who sounds like Mike Rowe, I don't think it was. The narrator says,
that would be cool.
Yeah, Mike Rowe. The narrator says, but Carl has something more serious in mind. And then I take out the spirit board from under the sofa. So that was a fun episode. I always enjoy it. How can I not? But they show that apparition, though, the woman's ghost that I would see in my parents' basement. That was done so well, so like the real experience that I actually became kind of nostalgic. Not spooky, but just, you know, I remember that so well. Yeah, it did spook me a little bit. But I'm saying I watched the recreation and said, that's what I saw. That is what I saw. And I described it and they recreated it.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I mean, because sometimes you hear that, you know, it's not always what it is. And, you know, they kind of switch things. And obviously they have to add a little bit to it to make it more of an, but it's good that they stayed basically true to the story. So
basically true, they did. Some of the dialogue was actually what we had said, like when they were playing on the spirit board. That's how things supposedly start there. And we call in something that we didn't expect with the spirit board. And well, we're talking, my sister and I are doing the Ouija board, the spirit board. And I said, get it to do something, my sister says. And the actor playing me says, if you're real, make the phone ring. So we're waiting there a few seconds. And then my sister says, nothing. And all of a sudden the phone, and we all jump, which really happened, you know, when that phone rang, we jumped, you know, make the phone ring. And, but the Ouija board had spelled out Susie, Susie. And that was my girlfriend at the time, and spelled out Susie. And then the phone rang. So I go, hello? It's like in a horror movie. Get the phone on. Susie. Oh my God, it's Susie. That really happened. Word for word, what we'd said. You know?
That's awesome.
We were flush with success. I show my sister smiling.
Yeah.
You know, that was fun.
So before I let you guys go,
Yes,
because this has been amazing. Elise, I would love to hear more about your parapsychology and all the Ryan Institute stuff too. I would love to have you on again and talk about it, because I think that's interesting. I've had Lloyd Auerbach on. I had, oh my gosh, he's going to be so mad at me. Elliot Van Dusen on. I had him on.
Van Dusen, yes, we can say that. We've trained ourselves to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had them. So I'm really into all the parapsych and all that stuff.
Well, it is because it gives you something to analyze, and as Elise mentioned, results are very chancy to try and replicate, but it's still a scientific approach.
Right. I find that as fascinating as anything that might be coming out of the sky or wherever you think it comes from, that humans can do some of this stuff.
I mean, I know that it can't be contained and controlled, I don't think. Not by myself anyway.
Hey,
but
way back when, electricity couldn't be controlled either. It was just lightning.
Yeah.
And people learned what it was and learned how to control it, how to use it to our advantage.
Yes.
Then how to charge people an arm and a leg for it. So that's what's going to happen with all this.
I like that.
ESP and PK, we're going to learn how it works. We're going to harness it. We're going to start charging people for it.
Yeah, well, we'll be innovative. Yeah, but I mean, I know that these are real forces in our lives. That there is ESP, there is extrasensory sensory perception, and extrasensory perception.
We're just still at the collection stage of figuring
yes,
it all out.
And there is synchronicity. Synchronicity is a viable force. Bizarre coincidences. I swim through synchronicity. And of course, the super logician would say, hey, that's coincidence, you know? You notice things more. Oh, you see a green Volkswagen, then you see another one, you think it's synchronicity. You know, there's it's coincidence. And I'm
like numbers, you know.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with that. It is coincidence, but it's wonderful coincidences, bizarre coincidences. You know, I mean, I was working at a dental agency, you know, I was doing reception. I was there. I was always the last one out, first one in, last one out. So I'm taking down phone numbers and calling, clients, patients to remind them of their appointments. And I'm writing down a phone number. So that's an unusual. I was like, I'll give the last four numbers of it. I was writing down 3232. I know, I'll be quick about it. I wrote down, the phone number was. It had four.
They really enjoyed the show.
So it said 3, nines, whatever, and then it said 3232. And right then I had the radio on, and it says the temperature is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. You know? And I think there was another 32 that happened that night or something. It's real, but that was just one. I every day I forgot something. I was driving to work on the high road from Diamond Hill Road in Woonsocket to Pawtucket when I was going to Slater Mill. And I just turned on the radio. There's a pickup truck in front of me. It's going kind of slow. And so I turned on the radio, and there's a song, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. I rode into town on this old horse named Leroy. So I just turned on the radio at that lyric. I look up, and the license plate in front of me, because it was going slow, I had time to read it. It said Leroy. Was the license plate on an old horse named Leroy. Things like that, but they keep happening. And it's like, yeah, I'm fine with it if it's just coincidence, because I'm noticing it, and it's wacky.
Yeah, but you can let yourself go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you can.
Definitely.
Yeah. Jonathan says, true heroes of the paranormal you two are. Thank you for what you have done, and I hope us newbies can make y'all proud as we keep paving the road. Just make sure you keep watching Paranormal Brew, because Paranormal Brew has some of the most educated and I like old school people that have been doing it for a really long time and know what they're talking about. I said, with the exception of one person that I've had on my show. Other than that, everybody I've had on they are just amazing. They're all amazing at what they do, and I appreciate all of them, every single one.
Because we can learn from all of them. We're
all
going to figure out a little piece of
I'm talking about you guys too.
Thank you. We'll get to it. We'll figure this out.
That's right. And we will see you on our show one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days, yeah.
You will.
Hold on. My Indonesia lovely friend here. Elise, what are your experiences related to the supernatural with taking care of the cemeteries?
I clean historic cemeteries, clean and restore. We have 100 of them in my town, and I have not seen a thing. All the time I spend in the cemeteries, even though I do, I have to admit, I walk in and I say, we're going to be making a lot of noise. I know it's usually quiet in here. We clean up the place, weed whackers, leaf blowers, whatnot. And then I, either out loud, if nobody's listening, because my team members bust me up, or, quietly if they are. I'm like, hope you like the place, hope you like what we've done with the place. And I've really never seen anything happen. There was the one time I did find a chicken and a line of pennies in the crypt, but I mean, little Santorino.
What is happening here?
Yeah, but no, I've never seen a thing.
Yeah, it's rare. Cemeteries, a lot of people, it's a myth. It's
if you had consciousness with no body that could go anywhere in the world, would you really be hanging around a cold, dark, dank cemetery?
Right. I think more than anything, I think, my father didn't believe in cemeteries, but I think if I were to go to visit his grave, the only way that there'd be something there is if, he was there for me.
Right.
For lack of better description, but for mostly I know most cemeteries are not
No.
active, in my opinion. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I've never.
there's a few. There is a few because I've
The
been
most
to
incredible
one.
stories I've heard of just people like literally, not paranormal investigators, not cemetery fans, just people who either went to visit a grave or actually went to a funeral and said, "Wow, nice touch. You had a lady walking by in the white dress," and they're like, "What lady in the white dress?"
Right.
But,
I mean, it does happen. I'm not
yeah,
discrediting it at all around, but
I know places where that's happened. Well, actually, one was Brayton Point Cemetery in Warwick, Rhode Island, and the police would tell a story that they were called in because neighbors were disturbed. They saw persons walking in the cemetery at night. I don't know why people would be gathering in the cemetery across the street from them. The police came, 2 officers, and they saw persons dressed in old-fashioned clothes, some of them, and glowing on the, they had their own light, as if they were illuminated by flashlights, but they were just glowing, and they were walking through the cemetery. We had police officers say, and when somebody's telling the truth, you get a good feeling for when they're legitimate, and you're saying,
right.
I can't go on record, but we did file the report, and this is what we saw, And, he said, please don't use my name if you tell that story, but that's what we saw that night. And so that's a spooky, creepy, eerie thing.
So really quick, Carl says, Hetty says, Carl, come back home with your brother.
Oh yeah. If I can find him.
Tada says, do you have a lot of Santeria activity in your area?
No, this just happened to be our cemetery at the edge of town that's closest to Providence. So I guess, somebody from there kind of wandered up. This one has a nice crypt, so holding crypt.
It's wonderful to find those things. I found a goat leg with the hair still on it.
Wait a minute. These things that you keep finding sound all culty.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's
all a chicken with a bunch of diamonds.
No.
Oh, I found a goat leg. I found a rabbit.
That was in Saunderstown, that was a different place. But yeah, I'd like to have my brother on with me on Taryn's show. Has my brother done your show? Has he done Paranormal Brew?
Nope.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you, if he's too dang busy or preoccupied, well, they do have a lot of considerations. He and his wife Sandra, and they run near New England Anomalies Research. I can do a pretty darn good Keith impression.
You can take both parts.
Yeah.
We can do a split screen and duplicate me somehow.
Yeah. Well, for one part, I'll shave my goatee. It always comes back, and I'll just yes, hello there. It's good to see you. Yes, my brother has told me some very, very good things about your show. Yes, he did. Well, you see, my belief. I don't say everyone has to believe my belief. Yeah. Well, now, I'll do a good Keith. Yeah,
you do.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on so much.
It's been
always a pleasure. Carl, you've been on about 10 times now, and I love having you on. It'll never get old.
Thank you. I will, but it won't get old me being on your show.
No, never. I have people can go back and look at all my shows and see who my faves are. They keep coming back. They keep coming back, and I love it. And then I love the combos we have. So, I appreciate it. And Elise.
Yes.
Oh, Elise.
Finally, this is your first Paranormal Brew appearance, isn't it?
I think I came
on. No. You were on once.
She was on once, but
Yeah, but it wasn't. She was just kind of like.
Just kind of sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was when I had you and James on and she was over. And
there was that. That would be James, myself in the center. And
what's funny is what people that are watching right now don't know is that when I had James and Carl and I had them on a few times. And I remember this Elise person, always commenting and sharing links and sharing this.
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember in my head thinking, wow, they got like a stalker fan. Like, wow. I didn't know that Elise was actually working with them. I thought Elise was just kind of like this person watching, and because she was always watching when they were on, and she was sharing links and
the links. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And then they said one day, they're like, oh, this is and I was like, oh my gosh, this whole time I thought she was like just some clone of yours.
Nah, let her come on. She's harmless. She'll throw some links up on the screen for us.
Somebody block
I
her.
love it.
Somebody block her.
And I say that with the most respect, Elise. I it was just not knowing, and then I was like, wow, I'm like, this chick
I know,
really
that's
likes
funny.
them.
That's so funny.
I'm like, she's such a fan. I love it. But again, I appreciate you guys coming on.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for everybody that watched, I mean, even on TikTok, thank you so much. I know I didn't really. I was like typing
I
responses.
think it's gonna be our first TikTok.
I think so, because I don't not that I know of. Nobody's ever thrown it up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I'm actually
TikTok,
you
YouTube.
saw my setup right now. It's really funny. Like I have my laptop in front of me, but my phone is right here, and it's facing this, so it's recording our entire. So not recording. I'm live.
Yeah.
you know. So I'm like, how do I incorporate TikTok into this whole thing? And I'm like,
Oh wow.
Oh,
I'm
good.
gonna put my
TikTok's
phone on and
lot
hit
of views.
record or go
a lot of
live.
viewers.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, and by popular request, well, I guess I could say popular demand, I didn't sing this time. I think I've sung on your show before.
Oh, here's my bestie.
Oh, I
Hi,
know
April.
who this is. Yeah.
Look at her. She's
April.
gorgeous.
April Bissett. Yes, she is. April Bissett. I don't know if she says I think she says Bissett. Yeah. But I need to talk with her again. It's been a while. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I know. He said people that always comment, no, I don't think she was like a stalker. I didn't mean that in a bad way. I meant like she was like a fan. Like she was like
Just
really
way
like,
too much.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
April
God.
said hi to both of you.
Hi.
Hi, April. Hi, dear.
And she said we need to talk. Oh wait, who? You need to talk to them or you need to talk to me?
Yeah, we need to talk. Maybe she just means that we need to talk now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Check
When
this
she
out.
says that, I get scared because she's a little
Yes, we
Italian.
need to talk. She
Big
cleared it up.
energy.
Yes, we need to talk. Said the
She
same
says
thing.
I always stalked her. And she does. We stalk each other.
Yes. Oh, you do. I've
she
seen
said,
quite a
"You,
few
Carl,
pictures
you're
of
in
you
trouble."
ladies together.
Carl, you're in trouble, not me.
Oh, okay. I sang to her. I sang on her show. I don't ask to. I just do it.
I'm defending Sherry.
Oh, sorry.
You stop it. You're hotter. She's hotter. She needs to stop.
Oh, you're hotter. No, you're hotter, girl.
I know. We do this.
You're
to
a
each other
hot
all the time.
lady.
Like before we became friends on Facebook, I know I would like watch her and stuff. I'm like, why isn't she friend requesting me? Like, why isn't she like paying attention to me? Like, I was like, and she was doing the same thing to me. She goes, why isn't she friend requesting me? But oh my gosh, she's the best. I love her. I can't believe I've gone this long without her in my life. So
see, and that's another good thing about this whole paranormal thing. You meet some really nice people.
amazing.
Yeah, you do.
You just kind of
Amazing. And she's amazing at what she does. If you guys ever get a chance to check her show out, she's the psychic housewife of New Jersey. She's a medium psych. She's amazing. And she tells you like it is. Like she don't mess around. She tells you like it is. You know,
Right.
so
I've heard her say sometimes, do you want me to divulge this? Do you want to know? I'll ask your permission.
yeah.
Because it's not always something that they might want to hear.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like if somebody's like, yeah, no, and she goes, yes, it is. I'm telling you, it's gonna come out, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, she's very adamant about it when she gets some. And then it's like 2 weeks later, people are like, oh my God, April, you'll never guess what happened. You know, and
right.
you know, she's like one of the best out there. So if you get a chance. Anyway,
Yes.
I just want to say I love you guys and thank you so much. And I would love to have you guys on again at some point.
Please do.
And thank you so much for spending this time with me. You can find John, you can just look April up on Facebook and send her a message or an email or April. I don't know how April handles her requests for help and stuff like that. I think she has moderators and stuff. I'm not quite sure. But if she's still watching, maybe she can direct you in the right direction. I said it sounds bad being her best friend that I don't even know how she handles stuff like that.
Well, she has somebody behind the scenes that like.
I think she does. I think she has somebody working for her
to make sure they get them through.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to miss messages.
Oh, good night, Ajing. Ajing is saying good night. It's probably like 3:00 in the morning there.
Good night.
I think there's a 13-hour difference, which there should only
I
be
love
12 hours.
you.
You know, this means heart.
I know. I can see that. She's been doing that.
I know. She's been doing it all through.
That's cute.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh yeah, that's my thing. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I like it too. Love it.
So I will let you guys go.
All
and,
right.
And thank you. This was so awesome. This was such an enjoyable show.
Yeah.
We
Let's
had a steady stream of watchers and questions and people.
Yeah.
You know,
very nice.
I mean, even people were sharing on TikTok. So hopefully, you know, they go check you guys out and hopefully, you know, get a little bit of, you know, TikTokers out there like wanting to look you guys.
Next we'll have to be doing like dance lessons and stuff like the other people on TikTok.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to do that yet.
Right,
So,
those little shuffle dances. And
this is all I got right here.
Well, somebody used to do a television talk show, like you know, cable one. It was a pretty good caliber. Jeffree Star, and he would end each episode by saying, you know, live like you're going to die tomorrow, but love is like you're going to live forever.
Aww.
I like what Benny Hill said. You remember Benny Hill?
I loved Benny Hill. That show was funny.
Same birthday as my father, but 1 year older. And Benny Hill would say, live your life like it's your last day, because one day you'll be right. Yeah.
And with those awesome quotes,
Yeah.
I will play my most awesome outro, and we will say
Alright.
good night. And hopefully you guys join me next week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
See
We'll be
you
there.
again.
And we'll pull you in as our guest.
Good night.